Hi, everybody. This is Lauren Baker, founder of Search Engine Journal. Today, we have a very special webinar presentation for you with Sam Go and Sam O. And Sam is, sorry, I was reading your Twitter handle there, Sam. But Sam is with our SEJ partner, Ahrefs. So Sam, if you wouldn't mind saying hi real quick.
Hey, everyone.
Great. So wanted to let you know that Sam's going to be putting together a great presentation today, but before we get started, I want to go ahead and do some housekeeping to let you know how our SEJ Think Tank presentations work and things you can do over the course of the presentation. So Sam's going to be presenting for about a good half hour on keyword research for 2019. And if you're like me, you're probably currently looking into new planning for next year, especially as things kind of slow down at the end of December. And this is a great opportunity to learn some new tips and tricks to help expand your keyword research going in the next year to open up new opportunity from an SEO perspective. Just let everyone know our official hashtag is SEJ Think Tank. So if you have Twitter, which I'm sure you do, please feel free to go to Twitter. Let all your friends know that you're currently attending the SEJ Think Tank webinar, and give us a shout out. We'll be sharing slides and things like that over the course of the webinar as well on social media. So you can always backtrack through there. Speaking of backtracking, we'll also be documenting and sending out the video of Sam's presentation after the webinar is over, along with publishing a recap on SEJ, and we'll be shooting all of you an email with that information in it. During the webinar, we're going to have a couple polls, so those are going to pop up on your screen. Feel free, really, I encourage all of you to participate in those. It gives Sam a lot of really good feedback on what you're doing and what you're learning and things like that, and can help him craft his presentation accordingly. Also, after Sam's finished, we're going to go ahead and open up everything to Q&A. So you'll see on your GoToWebinar control panel, there's a question box. As questions come up during the presentation, please feel free to go ahead and type them in. That way we can go ahead and see what you have and what you'd like to learn. I'll be going through the questions and asking them to Sam after he's finished. So that's basically everything from a housekeeping perspective. Sam, I'm going to hand things over to you right now to begin your webinar today.
Sounds good. So my name is Sam O, and I am the Director of Education at Ahrefs, which basically just means that I create educational material showing people how to use our tools and fit them into their everyday SEO tactics and strategies. I have 10 years experience in SEO and digital. I'm an ex-agency owner and an ex-professional gamer, and this was at the age of 13 before you could actually make a living playing video games. And outside of Ahrefs, I do some consulting. I create niche sites, which are obviously SEO driven, and I'm a YouTube creator primarily for Ahrefs.
Sam, do you mind if I interrupt real quick?
Of course.
Do you have your Twitch channel that you can share?
My Twitch channel. Twitch wasn't even available when I was gaming. Yeah,
Okay.
I got paid in video cards.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, 10 years too early, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay, please.
Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to do keyword research in 2019 for maximum traffic. So basically squeezing as much traffic as you can out of one topic. Okay, now I will preface that before I show you some cool tactics and strategies, we need to make sure that the fundamentals are covered, because without understanding things like assessing search intent and various scenarios that you're going to run into, the tactics aren't going to be as effective. Okay, so back in the day, SEOs, they used to use Google Keyword Planner, and they'd look up some keywords, that they thought were popular, and then they would create some dedicated pages around each keyword, despite them being essentially the same search query. And at this time, things kind of worked, but then Google dropped this bomb on us that it set us all into kind of panic mode. And they basically just started restricting keyword data to only AdWords advertisers. So basically, if you weren't paying, then you weren't going to see anything helpful. But today, things are very, very, very different. Last year, we did a study on 3 million searches, and we found that on average, a top ranking page in Google also ranks for nearly 1,000 other keywords in the top 10. Okay, so let me show you a bit of an extreme example. So you can see that the keyword phrase how to lose weight fast has an average of 58,000 monthly searches in the US. And it has a global search volume of 128,000 searches. Okay. But if you look at the top ranking page, you'll see that they get around 373,000 search visitors to the single page alone. And I'm guessing that's more traffic than most of us get in a month. And they rank for over 32,000 keywords. And if we actually look at the keywords that they rank for, you'll notice that they're in the top 3 positions, for all of these highlighted keywords. So how to lose weight fast, best way to lose weight, and fastest way to lose weight. So at the end of the day, these are essentially the same search query, but it's asked in a different way. And then you look at this one, diet plan, and it doesn't include any of the words in the target query, how to lose weight fast, yet they still somehow own the featured snippet for this and rank high. Okay, so the key takeaway here is that there is no fixed limit on the number of keywords a page can rank for. Okay, and search volume is not a good indicator for search traffic. Okay, and we just have a poll, so I'll pass it back to Lauren.
Excellent. Thank you. So I'm going to launch the first poll right now. What best describes your keyword targeting strategy? Is it A, low competition, low volume keywords? B, try to rank for high volume head terms? C, go after highly commercial keywords? D, go after competitor keywords? Or E, no keyword targeting strategy? So E is that you have zero keyword targeting strategy at all. We try to get about 60 to 70% of you voting because it really will help Sam craft a lot of his delivery today. So if you can go ahead right now and answer this multiple choice question, A, B, C, D, or E, that would be fantastic. We have 58%, 59, so I'll give you a couple more seconds for those of you who have not selected the poll answer yet. 5, 4, 3, 2, okay, last chance. 1, I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll at 79%, almost, 80%, okay, and share the results. So Sam, we had 33% of our audience responded that they try to rank for high volume head terms. 27% low competition, low volume keywords. 15% go after competitor key terms. 14% have no keyword targeting strategy, so they're going to learn a lot today. And then 11% C, go after highly commercial keywords. So the most popular was going for after the high volume head terms.
Okay, that's really interesting. I have a perfect example here for that. Okay, so first, let's unpack this idea of why search volumes are misleading, okay? And I can explain this in McDonald's terms. Okay, so we all know that McDonald's isn't a healthy choice, right? It's not the healthiest choice, I should say. But when you see that commercial or that billboard on a long road trip, there's probably nothing more that you want in life in that moment than to dig into that delicious grade A meat. And I'm using quotes around grade A here. Okay. So, let's go with the road trip example. You stop at the next service station, you rush your friends or your kids out of the car, you pay your hard-earned money for a Big Mac, and you end up with this. All right. You feel kind of misled or even betrayed at this point. Now, the truth is that the advertisement, it reels you in and it looked better than it actually was. And in the same way, search volumes can create a similar effect. Okay, the numbers aren't necessarily fake, but they can be distorted from reality. So let me show you some real world examples here. Okay, so here's the advertisement. Donald Trump age, which has a search volume of 51,000 monthly searches in the US. Okay, but the reality is that there are only 7,200 clicks that happen on the search results page each month. So this means that for this query, only 14% of searches get clicked. And it makes sense. The quick answer box, it solves the reason for the query. So there's no point in clicking anything else. Okay, now what about the head term like health? Okay, this keyword has 147,000 monthly searches in the US, gets 59,000 clicks, which is around 40%. It's not great, but it's much better, right? So, if you could rank for a health, or not a health, a head term like this, then it should change your health business, right? Not necessarily. So if you look at the top ranking pages, they get way less search traffic than the suggested search volumes. And this is including all of the keywords that the page ranks for, not just for the term health. right? And again, health had a search volume of 147,000. And if you actually look at the search results, you're going to see that the search intent is extremely unclear. Okay, so think about it for a second. I want you guys to think about this. If someone is typing the word health into Google, what do you think they're looking for? Right? Are they looking for ways to stay healthy? Something about healthcare, something about holistic health, or something completely different, right? So the thing is that you probably have no idea, neither do I. And if we took a poll on this, I can guarantee you it would be so widespread it wouldn't be funny. But the thing is that Google doesn't really know either, to a certain extent. So if you actually look at the top ranking pages, the first page is health.com. So in this case, this would be a branded query, whereas result number 4 is about general health information from a governmental website. And then result number 10 is a news article with the title, "Being Black in America Can Be Hazardous to Your Health." The thing is that search intent is unclear, and this is actually quite common for head terms. So you're going to come down to a common battle, okay? And this is one that you're going to face often, is that, the search volume / traffic versus search intent. So which one wins? Search intent almost always wins, or in my opinion, it actually always wins. So when researching and choosing keywords to create content around, you need to ask yourself this question, okay? And this is the serve search intent. And that's, what is the searcher looking for? And can I fulfill that intent? Okay, and we're going to do a deep dive into this stuff. So there are 4 main categories where almost any search query with clear intent will fit, okay? And that's informational, navigational, commercial investigation, and transactional. So your informational keywords, these are going to be your how-tos, your what's, or anything where people are doing their preliminary research. So for example, how to make slime. Your navigational keywords are, usually branded queries to a certain extent, like Facebook or Bank of America login or Google Analytics login, which I'm sure a lot of you have typed before. And commercial investigation, are the affiliates paradise, like the verses and the best keywords. Or there are actually times where, someone will be looking for a specific attribute, like brown shoes for men size 11. And then we come down to transactional, which are your buy, your download, etc., where someone is ready to make a purchase. And I actually took this image from Nick Eubank's agency site, and you'll see how these different stages of intent fall into the conversion funnel. So how do you identify search intent? Okay, and I promise you it's not sexy, but it's an absolute required step. And that's to learn from Google's top ranking results. Okay, so let's look at a few examples. How to make a website. All of the top ranking pages are guides. There's informational intent here. Best headphones. They're all recent and up-to-date comparisons. It's commercial investigation. Buy Bose quietcomfort headphones. And they're all product pages. There's a clear transactional intent here, right? And in general, the best way to compete for keywords is to follow suit. And I'm talking about content type. So, you don't need to reinvent the wheel with a super unique article or tool. If all the top ranking pages are guides, then don't try to rank with a product page, because you probably can't match search intent. And in most cases, you probably won't be able to rank. But search intent isn't always clear. Okay, so here's a cool example. I love this example. If you look at the US SERP for the keyword football, you're going to see that all of the results are about American football, except this one here, number 9, which is about what Canadians and Americans often call soccer. Then you look at the UK SERP for the same term, and everything is about European football or soccer. And this is where things get super interesting. Okay, so this is a SERP position history graph from Keywords Explorer. And if you look at the top 4 or 5 ranking pages, you're going to see that they were all jumping in and out of the top 100. Okay, not top 10, but top 100. And it makes sense because, there's an off season for American football or the NFL. So people typing the query at those times, they may not be looking for the NFL website. And, you can't see it on this graph, but what else happened this year that's related to this query? The World Cup, right? And that was in June and July. And around that time, FIFA.com was actually jumping in and out of the top 100 in the US SERPs for this keyword. But during the time of the actual World Cup, it was kind of stable, because that's what people were looking for when they type football. Because we can't generalize that everyone in the US calls soccer football, right? Or the other way around too. Oh, I didn't switch the slides. Okay, anyway, so in general, volatile SERPs, they may not require as many links, okay? but retaining rankings is somewhat unpredictable. Stable SERPs, on the other hand, they will likely require more quality links than the competition, but retaining position is often more predictable. Okay, and so Moz's Beginner's Guide to SEO is the perfect example for this. Okay, so this is Moz's Beginner's Guide to SEO, and it's a perfect example of a stable SERP. So in the last 2.5 years or so, it hasn't dipped out of the top 5 for the keyword SEO. Okay, now one last example, which is a nice little mini case study on the importance of matching search intent. Okay, so we created this awesome post to study different on-page ranking factors, okay, and it got shared a ton, okay, but more importantly, it gained quality links from hundreds of unique referring domains. And for a short period, we actually ranked in the top 5, but as time went on, as you can see, our rankings plummeted. So we reassessed search intent, and we realized that maybe a data guide isn't the right route for this. So we actually updated that post recently. And take note of the highlighted title here. We created an actionable guide. And here's what happened. We jumped from around position 40 to position 6 in 4 days. Okay, we had links, we had good content, but it wasn't the right fit for what Google thought visitors wanted, right? Pretty powerful stuff when you match search intent. Okay, so at this point, we've talked about how search volume does not equate to search traffic, and that search intent comes first. And if you can't fulfill the intent of the searcher, then it may be worth reevaluating whether you should actually go after that keyword. So how do you find keywords that actually drive tons of traffic and know that you can actually rank for them? Enter the long tail topics. So there's a common misconception around long tail keywords, and most people think that it deals with word length, okay? But that's not what they're about at all. Here's an example. I want to show you an example that's going to kind of bust this myth. So you'll see that the 4 and 5 word phrases have significantly more searches each month rather than the 2 and 3 word phrase, right? And this kind of surprised me because I thought lose weight would be way up there. And if we look at the left side of this graph, okay, the left side, you're going to see that 13.5% of keywords with a search volume of 0 to 10 have only 1 or 2 words in them. And on the right side, you'll see that around 9% of 10K plus search volume phrases have 4 or more words. And long tail keywords are basically, they're just search queries with low individual search volume, but usually have a huge total search demand as a group. Okay, and this idea comes from this so-called search demand curve. So at the top of the curve are usually very popular high volume search queries. Then as you go down that curve, there are way more low volume keywords on that topic, so AKA long tail keywords. So here's an example, and this is a screen grab from our video on long tail keywords. And you'll see that the term cute cats would be the main topic, and so it's at the head of the curve. Then as you go further down, then there might be something with a little bit of a lower search volume that is based around the same topic, the cutest cat in the world. And then when you go way down to the bottom, this is your long tail, and the fact that you can't actually read those keywords, it illustrates that there are a ton of them at the end. And so when they add up, it actually amounts to a lot of search volume. And this is why that How to Lose Weight Fast article that I showed you in the beginning, it just gets so much search traffic. It's a huge topic, and there's so many different ways to search for this kind of query, right? So finding long tail topics comes down to 2 things. Number 1, like how much search traffic does a page actually get? And 2, which keywords contribute to number 1 and how many? So the easiest way to find long tail topics is to look at your competitors' traffic generating pages. And I use Ahrefs Site Explorer to do this. And so basically you can just type in a competitor's name there. So I put in bodybuilding.com and I went to the top pages report. And now the main columns that I'm looking at here are traffic, keywords, top keywords, its volume, and its position. And the number of keyword rankings, it kind of gives you an idea of the size of the topic. The traffic column, it gives you an indication of how much search traffic you can actually get by ranking for this topic. The top keyword gives you, kind of insights into what we call the parent topic or the main topic. Then there's the search volume for that top keyword and the ranking position, which is important because, if a page is ranking in, or if a keyword is ranking in position 20, then it's probably not going to be driving too much search traffic to that page. So it wouldn't be a good representation of what we're trying to find here. And we'll actually jump into the second poll here.
Excellent. Thank you. And just to confirm, Sam, can you hear me right now? Possibly not. So yeah, we can't hear each other, but I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. So here goes. Which topic do you think generates the most search traffic for bodybuilding.com? A, chest workouts. B, back exercises. C, shoulder workouts. Or D, ab workouts. So please take the time to vote what you think generates the most traffic based upon those search volume numbers. And I do apologize for the technical difficulties. Apparently Sam and I cannot hear each other, but we're going to do our best to give you the best presentation and webinar ever. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. We have 44% voted for ab workouts, 31% chest workouts, back exercises and shoulder workouts accordingly based upon the search volume. And hide the results and then back to you.
Okay, I think we're good to go. I missed those results, but the answer to that question was actually chest workouts. Okay. Okay, so now business value aside, the top keywords may not produce the results that you'd expect. And because I don't know the results, it's going to be kind of interesting, but I think that everyone would have, chosen the one about abs, right? Because apparently everyone wants abs. But, if you look at these two columns, you'll see that the amount of traffic that goes to these pages is significantly less than the suggested search volume, right? And despite owning multiple featured snippets, and those little quotation icons that you see mean that it's the featured snippet. Okay, but check this one out. The top keyword is chest exercises for men with a search volume of 4,000 in the US, but the page actually generates more than 3.5 times the search traffic at nearly 15,000 search visitors per month in the US alone. Okay, so the key takeaway here is to analyze your competitors' top pages and create content around the topics that generate traffic for your website and obviously have business value. Okay, so we're past the fundamentals now, and well, most of the fundamentals, and I have 2 more hacks for you. Okay, so setting these filters work really well on authority sites. And by authority site, I'm referring to those websites that are ranking for literally every keyword under the sun. So this usually happens in larger industries like health. So like think of your Healthlines and your WebMDs. And for developers, for example, Stack Overflow would be a good one. And if you can't see the 2 filters that well, or if you're on a call, I basically set to find only keywords that rank in positions 1 through 3 and keywords with a search volume of 1,000 or more. Okay, and you could adjust that search volume filter based on your niche. And so what you can do is you can actually look at the its volume column. So in this case, chest workouts has 48,000 monthly searches in the US. And if you click on the little caret beside the URL, then you're going to see the total global organic traffic to the page. So in this case, 142,000 search visitors. So that's the traffic potential of this page. And then after you're done looking through one competitor, you can go to the competing domains report. Okay, and this page orders other domains around the web that you have common keyword rankings with. So, you can see that this is ordered by common keyword percentage. So I went to muscleandfitness.com, and you can see that their highest traffic page is about workout routines that has 22,000 monthly searches and generates around 65,000 search visitors per month. And these organic search traffic numbers are actually underestimations. So you can see that there's no shortage of topics, right? But can you actually rank for these keywords? Okay, so let me show you an actual process that you can follow, which is going to encompass everything that we've gone through, from the research to measuring ranking difficulty to actually creating your content, because that's important too. So first, I'm on the top pages report, and I'm interested in writing about this topic, chest exercises for men. And we've already seen that it has a lot of traffic potential. So I would click on that boxed keyword, and this takes me over to Keywords Explorer. And you can see that the search volume looks pretty good. The clicks are a near match, which means that even if you don't rank in the top 3 positions, it's possible that you can get search visitors to your page from this keyword since searchers are probably clicking on numerous results. They may not be satisfied, or they're looking for different options. And then there's the monthly, global monthly search volume of 8,000. And then at the bottom, you're going to see the number that says traffic potential. And this is an estimate of how much organic search traffic you can get if you rank #1 for the parent topic. Okay, and here I'm just going to glance at the keyword difficulty score, and I'll come back to this in a second. So you can see here that it says that we need around 22 websites to rank in the top in order to rank in the top 10, not the top 1 or the 3, but top 10. And again, this is just a rough estimation. This is the keyword difficulty score. So I'd assess the volatility of the search results just to see if search intent is clear. And personally, I like to go for topics where I know how to rank pretty clearly. And for me, that's stable. Occasionally, I will still go for slightly more volatile ones. And then you need to assess search intent. So you can see that all of the top ranking pages are guides, so I would follow suit. In fact, most of these are actually list posts. So 6 best routes for a bigger chest, 20 best chest workout moves, 9 keys to more mass. And these all have informational intent. So it comes down to the question, can you serve search intent? If it's no, move on. If it's yes, then you need to assess ranking difficulty. And again, keyword difficulty needs to be assessed manually. So no matter what tool you use, you can't rely on a number, a 1 to 3 digit number, to determine if it's hard to rank. It's just not possible with so many different factors that go into how or why a page ranks. So the way to assess this is to manually review the top 10 ranking pages. So for Ahrefs, our keyword difficulty score is a weighted average of the number of linking domains to the current top 10 ranking pages plotted on a logarithmic scale from 0 to 100, basically translating into links. So in our SERP overview, you can see that the number of referring domains that are pointing to each page. And this is this one on chest exercises for men. You're going to see that there aren't that many links, at least in my opinion. In fact, number 6 only has 2 links from unique domains. So from here, I want to get an idea of whether these pages are actually optimized for the keyword. And of course, you'd have to go and visit those pages too. And you'll see that a few of them at the bottom of the page, they aren't really intentionally targeting the keyword chest exercises for men. So it might be possible to penetrate the top 10 without as many links as these pages. That would at least be my hypothesis. But what about this page? Okay, it has 15 referring domains. It's targeting the keyword we're going after, so what gives? Okay, so maybe they haven't given it enough time to rank, but normally what I would do in this case is I would go to the referring domains report. So I've actually filtered for only followed links, and I'm just looking at the domain rating column, and this is just for an eyeball scan. So our domain rating score is basically a measure of how strong the website's backlink profile is. And just by looking at the screenshot, you can quickly see that the websites that are linking to them seem to be somewhat of a lower quality. So these links probably aren't moving the needle much for them. And even if you look at the referring domains report for the top ranking page, they don't really have any great links. Okay, so it comes down to this. Can you build better or more links? Yes or no? But links aren't everything. Okay, so our goal is to rank high for as many relevant keywords that actually drive search traffic, meaning we want to get the most mileage out of our topic. And this boils down to content. So in our study, we found that the length of the content correlates with the number of keywords that a page also ranks for in the top 10. Okay, so this is not a call to make your content unnecessarily long, but I do want to illustrate my example on the importance of content, okay? This is for one of my niche sites, and it might not look like a crazy huge spike in traffic, but basically I started publishing new content around long tail topics in November 2017, and I didn't do any link building, or very little at least, and it actually hasn't earned that many links naturally. But the traffic has nearly tripled from just writing good content, and it's actually all outsourced content because I don't really know much about this topic. And if you look at the keywords graph below, you'll see that the number of keywords that my website ranks for has increased with it. And the reason why there aren't many top ranking keywords here, additional keywords here, is because of links. So again, links are very important. Okay, so the question now is, what do you write about? We have a topic and everything. What do we write about? And the answer is whatever Google deems is rank worthy for that topic. Okay, and here's that example again of that how to lose weight fast article, ranking in position 1 with a featured snippet for diet plan. So Google's job is to serve search intent best. So that becomes your job. So you could go and look at the organic keyword rankings for each of the top ranking pages for this keyword to get an idea of what you actually want to write about. So I actually set a position filter here in the organic keywords report to show only keywords that rank in positions 1 through 8, which will help keep the keywords relevant. And here you want to start looking at the language that these pages are using. And I'm saying language because you don't need to include all of these keywords, but you're trying to extract subtopics, right? We're trying to create something that is contextual, that has words in there that make sense together. Okay, and I'll show you an example later on that. So you can see that I've highlighted some words here. So our target audience for this post is clearly for men. And then they're talking about workout routines, workouts, and bodybuilding. So now your goal isn't to shoehorn as many keywords in your post as possible, right? It's to use it when it makes sense. And even if you don't have any tools to use, you can just go to Google and look at the top ranking pages and actually read through their content, okay? And then just jot down any keywords that you think might make good subtopics for yours. So this is from bodybuilding.com. And the article talks about mass, it talks about chest definition, it talks about upper and lower chest emphasis, right? These are all very interesting words to me that popped out. But there's an even better way to do this because you probably don't want to skim through potentially tens of thousands of keyword rankings. And that's to do a content gap analysis at the page level, okay? Now, the more common usage for content gap analyses is to search for a couple competitors' keyword rankings and then find out which keywords they rank for, but you don't, okay? And you'll find some common keyword rankings like this. But when you do it at the page level, you're going to get some crazy insights, okay? So this is our content gap tool. And if you've never seen it before, basically what this is saying is find keywords that all of these pages rank for, and these are the top 3 ranking pages for my target keyword. And then the checkbox says, but at least one of these pages has to rank in the top 10. And I'm just leaving the last part blank, but the following target doesn't rank for, just because we're trying to find common keywords within these pages. And then here you can see common pages that these pages rank for, which makes your job a little bit easier, right? So you can see that searchers want a routine, they want to gain mass, and they want a full chest workout. Okay, last example, and this is a content gap analysis for pages that rank for best watch brands. So you can see here that people are talking about mechanical watches for men, or not for men, the mechanical watches. They're talking about Italian watches, French watches. I'm pretty sure there was something about Swiss watches here too. Now, rather than looking at these as a list of keywords, use these to form an outline based on how Google sees search intent. Okay, so now I know literally nothing about watches. I don't wear watches. I don't like watches. So this might not make perfect sense, but if it does, then this kind of proves my point of what the kind of insights that you can gain. So I'm creating this fake post here. It's a list post called 17 of the best men's luxury watch brands. And then I'm organizing them by country of origin, then type of watch underneath those. And, because we're talking about luxury watches, I would definitely mention, some of the more popular brands like Rolex, because like what would a luxury watch brands post be without mentioning these kinds of brands, right? And so basically I'm trying to build contextual relevance here. Okay, so in summary, here are 9 steps to do keyword research for maximum traffic. Okay, this isn't really a step, but it's an important point that I want to drive home. Instead of looking at search volume for a keyword, look to the total traffic potential of a topic. Step 2 is to look at your competitors' traffic generating pages to find topics that have traffic and or business potential. You don't want to ignore that too. Step 3 is to identify search intent for your keyword target by analyzing the top 10 results. Step 4 is evaluate whether you can fulfill search intent. Step 5, manually assess ranking difficulty. So that will be the link profiles and on-page factors. Step 6, see which common keywords the top 3 pages rank for. And you can do this through a content gap analysis at the page level or manually try and extract topical ideas from the top ranking pages. Step 7, create an outline using these keyword rankings as a guide, keyword guide, and write a great piece of content that fulfills that search intent. Step 8, build links, and this is a graph from one of our studies, and there's a clear correlation between organic search traffic and the average number of referring domains, and correlation does not equal to causation, but yes, build links, and then you rinse and repeat. And that's it, so I'll pass it back to Lauren.
Thank you for doing that deep dive into the page level content gap analysis. That was actually very interesting. We had a lot of comments within our question box and chat box around that as well. I'm used to seeing content gap analysis done on a domain level sometimes, but not necessarily page level. And also, those are some great examples of just identifying long tail queries that help support overall search intent. So thanks a lot, and a good reminder that I should go to the gym this afternoon.
Me too.
All right, excellent. So I'm so happy that we have audio back. That was a little weird for a while. We have some questions that have come in, and then also just to let some of you know that jumped on a little bit late, we will be having the slide deck will be available. The video of Sam's presentation will be available, and we'll also be sending over a recap with some bullet points and things like that. If you have any specific questions based upon the keyword research tips that Sam went over today, or if you have any generalized SEO questions, please feel free to put them into the question box now, and I will start going through accordingly. First question. You had mentioned that you didn't do much on the linking side for your content on your sample site, but had addressed a lot of different long tail key terms and natural writing to fulfill what you had seen from a search intent perspective in Google. Did you, when you published that content, did you do much internal linking to those content pieces?
I did. So I did, and so internal linking is pretty important. I have a very basic process that I go through. So that sample site, basically, most of the content, at least the content that I'm trying to push, is based around one topic. So I'll usually just go to Google and type in something like site:/domain.com, and then I'll type in a keyword. So let's say, for example, I wanted to rank for best watches or watch brands or something. Then I would just type in watches or watch brands or some watch brands like Rolex, and from there I would find the pages that actually mention those keywords and then see if it makes sense to add an internal link there.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that there's more and more conversation going on now about internal linking, but it's definitely something that can be overlooked, especially when you're going through a checklist of optimize the page, get the best content, do some link building. Don't forget your internal links. Also, I've seen a lot of benefit from including some of your, I guess, hero content within navigation, homepage links, things along those lines to get people to it as well, and that's helped dramatically from a link or from a traffic increase and ranking increase standpoint. And by the way, that graph, that increase graph you saw that you shared was. You said it wasn't that large of an increase, but it looked pretty good on our side. So it was
I think
good to see.
Like 3.5 times.
Yeah. Good to see. So next question is, are a lot of these concepts, you had shared a lot of examples that were consumer oriented, right? Bodybuilding, watch buying, best headphones, et cetera, et cetera. Are these concepts generally the same for business or service related sites, so the B2B crowd?
Yeah, I think in general, the consumer side just has more searches. And I'm speaking very generally. But for example, on the Ahrefs blog, we have a post, I believe on, what is it? I think the keyword is submit to search engines or something like that, or like how to submit your website to search engines. And I think the monthly search volume, don't quote me on these numbers, was pretty low. So let's just say 1,500. But then the traffic potential on that page was way up there. And so we get a lot more traffic to that page, even though the original parent topic or main topic. So for example, someone might search for how do I submit my website to a search engine, but then they might also say to Google, to Yahoo, to Bing. And at the same time, it's all the same question, and we've covered all those different things, so our page will still show up for that.
Great. Next question that came in from Will Kelly was, how do I get a bigger chest? So Will, I would recommend going to bodybuilding.com or searching on Google.
Yeah, bodybuilding.com is a good resource. They have a good app too. Free promotion.
Very cool. Very cool. So next question is, how do you pick keywords when you don't necessarily have competitors in your own field yet? So maybe a new and emerging field. Any keyword tips when someone cannot necessarily go through and put together a gap analysis?
Is there an example? I just can't think of one where there aren't competitors.
You did not get a specific example. So
I don't know if we're able to track whether they can send us an example and maybe move on to the next one and come back to this.
Yeah, sure. Next question is, the next question would be, first of all, for a lot of the examples that you utilized, you're using Ahrefs, right? What reporting is accessible through Ahrefs without an account? And are there any other keyword research tools that you would recommend in addition to Ahrefs for pulling keyword research information?
What is available we don't really have a free account. We have a 7-day trial. We're actually working on a cool video that's coming out on how much you can actually do with Ahrefs in 7 days. So that's going to be kind of fun. But to answer your question, the free account, there are very basically, if you go to get a trial for $7, after your trial expires, if you choose not to renew, then you'll be put onto a free account, and it's not, the limitations are very strict, so you can't really use much there. Other keyword research tools, honestly, I only use Ahrefs, and this is before I even started working for them, is I only used Ahrefs really, just because I could get everything done there. If I were not to, then I would probably use Google Keyword Planner. I know it sounds weird with the range volume, but there are ways to get around that range volume and without actually paying. We have a video of it on our YouTube channel. But there are ways, and on our blog post, we have a blog post on Google Keyword Planner. If you just search for something like Google Keyword Planner Ahrefs, you'll find something there. And there are ways that you can actually get search volume, whether that's by the country or even down to the city, which is kind of an interesting way to do that. But as for the stuff that I was talking about, like finding organic keyword rankings and stuff, you kind of need a tool for that, just because Google's not going to give you that information.
Got you. Excellent. Next question, pretty interesting. So what are 3 common mistakes you think people make when conducting keyword research, besides only targeting high volume key terms?
I think it's just putting too much focus on search volume. That's the first thing that came to my mind, was all they do is they look at search volume and they're like, oh, sweet, like this looks good. Like, for example, that Donald Trump age might be a good one. Like, let's say you had a website about Donald Trump. You know, it wouldn't necessarily be one of my top topics that I want to target. The biggest one, in my opinion, is search intent. So people try to often, and I'm using quotes here, is to be the hero. And so they want to create something super unique, something that's super different. And, you know, hopefully that'll turn into something that generates more traffic, more revenue. But that's not usually the case. Like, I'm not saying don't be creative in your writing or in the tools or products that you create. But in terms of format, like if it's a buy word, it's almost always, like, try it yourself. If you go to Google and you type in buy product name, it will almost always be product pages. If you type in something reviews, then it will usually be like a review site. Or how to do this, then it'll almost always be guides. And so following search intent is quite important. And a third one, are we talking about keyword research in particular?
Keyword research or anything else that you think that is a common mistake out there with overall SEO planning and execution?
Thinking that links aren't important. Links are
Yeah.
very important. And even though my example like kind of defies that, which is not true, it doesn't defy it, because I'm sure there were still links that were being naturally earned there. It's important to build links. So for that site that I showed you, I have link building campaigns going on for those right now. So we're actually scaling that big time right now. So that by the end of next year, it should, there should be a nice traffic bump.
Very cool. Very cool. Getting a lot of questions about links, like how can I build links? What's the best way to build links? Things like that. Any quick link building tips that you have?
The first one that comes to mind is unlinked mentions. So if your website does get mentioned around the web, unlinked mentions is super, super easy to do. I would recommend to do it in Content Explorer just because it makes it super easy. You basically just type in your brand name and variations of it. So for example, if we were doing Ahrefs, I might do Ahrefs or Ahref or Ahrefs, or basically misspellings of it, and then just find out which pages have or have not linked to me, and the ones that haven't, then I would reach out to them and ask for a link.
Yeah.
Broken link building is actually my favorite link building tactic. It just converts really, really well for me. So like the one that I was just telling you about, like I think we sent 112 emails or 102 emails, and over the last 24 hours, 7 of those have converted into links. And so for me, broken link building works really well. The way that I would do it is, sorry guys, like I'm giving you Ahrefs examples here because that's what I use. But I would just type in a domain, a competitor's domain in Site Explorer. Then we have a Best By links report. And within there, you can actually filter for 404 pages. So you can see all of the broken pages, the number of links that are pointing at those pages, and then you can just do your prospecting and contact those people. Guest blogging is probably one of the easier ones, but more time-consuming ones. And so if you have a team of freelance writers, for example, it makes your job a lot easier, and so that one can be scaled quite nicely too.
What I like about broken link building is I usually lead in with that email, letting the publisher know that they have a link to a 404 page, and that can actually that can mess up their overall SEO, right? Because you don't want to have broken outbound links. So one is being helpful, letting them know, and then 2 is maybe introducing an alternative place or an additional place to link to. How do you usually go about that on your own?
For broken link building?
Yeah.
I love broken link building, so this is my favorite. So I'm experimenting with numerous emails.
Okay.
But one thing that I've found, so one email campaign, I can't remember how many emails I sent. It wasn't a huge amount, maybe like 60 to 80. And there was like a 20-something% link acquisition rate. And the only major change that I made there was I added a screenshot of where the link is on their post, so where the broken link is. And in my head, and this might just be my own reasoning, but I feel like when they see a screenshot of their own blog in an email, it brings familiarity, right? Is that we're not just going there. And also, I don't actually tell them to replace their link, or like, I think you should replace your link with mine. Like I do pitch my resource, but I also tell them like, hey, I think you should update it and either remove it or update it. So I'm not being pushy. And it tends to work really well. And so, and these are all scalable because you can actually use merge tags or merge fields to switch out these different things if you prep and prospect properly.
Excellent. Very nice tip. Thank you. Thank you for that. Next question is, we had some questions coming in about local search, right? So in addition to intent really being filtered down to transactional pages, informational pages, comparisons, right? So in B2B and in the SaaS space, typically now if you do a search for like best type of this software, or even something like single sign-on software, maybe 8 of the top 10 will be G2 Crowd, Capterra oriented pages, things like that, not necessarily the software companies themselves.
Mm.
And then from a filtering perspective, the next one is local, right? So if I do a search in my area for if I did a search for like best dating site, chances are I would find 8 out of 10 being dating pages in the LA area or LA oriented news articles about dating sites, things like that. So do you have any techniques that help from a local search perspective with keyword planning and putting together great content? And the specific vertical they're asking about is dental.
Dental. Okay.
Yeah, that helps.
So I will tell you very honestly, I'm not a local SEO expert. I have done some, but for the projects that I have worked on, I have a partner who deals with that a lot better. But for example, the local queries where you type something like restaurant near me, the first thing is that you don't need to include near me in your page content. And that's a common question that I've had is people think that you need to include that keyword. So, I bet you if you did a Google search for something like in title restaurants near me, you're going to find some local pages like that or something. Anyway, that aside,
I remember reading an article about I think it might have been a dentist that changed their business name to Dentist Near Me.
yeah, right. And that's the thing is that
Yeah.
people think that you have to do that. So first of all, you don't need to do that. A lot of this comes down to, from my understanding, is your actual what is it? The Google My Business stuff, the reviews, citations. We have tutorials on these. It's just I can't think of these off the top of my head just because I don't live and breathe local SEO every day. So I would highly recommend checking those out. Ahrefs.com/blog/local-SEO, and I'm pretty sure that's the right URL, but that guide is massive. Josh wrote it. Definitely worth a read. Yeah, and so in terms of rankings and stuff, yeah, like that guide covers absolutely everything. I read it and I felt like I was a local SEO expert by the end.
Awesome, awesome. So just to let everyone know, we'll send out all these links on the Ahrefs piece and the Ahrefs trial. We had a lot of questions, Sam, like what's the link for the free trial? So we'll go ahead and shoot that out to all attendees and registrants after the webinar. That way you can get signed up, give Ahrefs a run for a 7-day period and see how you like it. And then I'll move on to the next question if you don't mind, and the next and final question, which is a great one. So right now is basically the annual roundup, how to prepare for next year, New Year's resolutions, if you will, type of time of the year. So what are the main SEO metrics and SEO strategies that you think will be game changers for preparing for 2019? And anything that you think definitely has changed from 2018 going into 2019 from an SEO perspective.
From 2018 to 2019, it's really tough to predict these things, and I usually don't like giving predictions because they're just guesses. So don't take anything that I say as something that's factual, because these are just kind of where I'm going to be focusing. So maybe I'll spin the question that way, is the kind of new things that I'm going to be focusing on. Number one, I'm going to try to create interactive content, if that makes sense. I do feel like the whole idea of long form content has blown up quite a bit over the past few years, and I feel like it's getting tiring now for a lot of people, because a lot of people are just, that's why I mentioned in my presentation that you don't need to make your content longer just for the sake of making it longer, right? It's just that oftentimes length is a byproduct of a thorough article. But creating kind of interactive content is going to be kind of an interesting thing. So for example, within a blog post, I may include a tool that people can use within that blog post and continue to read. So
Right.
that's something that I'm going to be doing, is user engagement signals. Links, I think, for me at least, I'm a little bit more careful as to who I pitch for a link. I don't just pitch just anyone under the sun who might be a good prospect. Basically, so the thing is that my site is in the health niche, and so I'm sure you guys are all familiar with what happened with Medic. I don't want to talk about that too much, but my site had an increase in search traffic then. I don't know why exactly, but basically based on what I was doing and some of the sites that I was looking at that just got smashed. One thing that stood out to me was link profiles, and I'm not saying that this is what caused Medic or poor quality content. But yeah, so number one, I want to keep my content above the rest, and I feel like the whole idea of what I showed you with the content gap analysis, that helps a lot in terms of understanding what searchers are searching for. So usually I'll take those and I'll kind of make an outline for my writer. I'll send it to her and then she'll write it. And as for links, I'm just careful. Like I'm a little bit paranoid in that sense, that I just don't like to just build at scale. Like I do like to build at scale, but I like to build at scale on quality sites.
Right.
And obviously that scale is much smaller when you're weeding out more than 50% of the link prospects that someone else might actually pitch. So that's kind of interesting. To be honest with you, I don't think there's going to be that much that really changes from what I'm doing now, aside from scaling up link building. That's the main thing I'm going to be doing. And then my content, I feel like, is already okay. I don't want to speak for Ahrefs just because I know that Josh deals with most of the blog stuff, Josh and Tim. But they seem like they're doing some pretty good stuff. I see what they're doing. Updating content is actually a big one that I should mention.
Yeah.
If you have old posts that are not ranking, where you're targeting a meaningful keyword, then it may be worth actually updating that post. And so we have a post and a video coming out on a content audit. And so I did 2 content audits this year, which I would highly recommend doing if you have a lot of pages. And so long story short, I think I deleted like 75% of my pages and got a lift in of around 57% in the first month in organic search traffic.
Wow.
Over the year was like 80 something percent. And so content audits, I think, are worth doing. Stay tuned for that. It's actually, I think yeah, Josh and I worked on that together, and I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, you know, at Search Engine Journal, we've been doing a lot of pruning of old content, and we've also been doing a lot of updating. I think all in all, like when I think back to 2017, I think that was the year of getting SSL migrated, right? Like that was the year of SSL, right? 2018 has been kind of the year of evergreen content, content consolidation, right?
Yeah,
And
that's a big one.
turning basically what it equates to 52 pickup of publishing as much blogs as possible and turning like 10 blogs into one has been great. And I do agree with you. Like if everyone is currently following the SEO trends, updating their 10 posts into one master post, or putting together great content from a written perspective, what's the next step to increase dwell time, time on site, interactivity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So really looking at additional things that you can do with the content that you've updated over the course of this year, whether that be adding video embeds, video walkthroughs, maybe some tools that you had mentioned, little things to keep folks on the page longer and to get them scrolling and to get them clicking around. I think it's very helpful. And one thing that I saw from Medic too, which is kind of funny because one site that I work with that's in the health space, and at the beginning of 2017, or at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, I recommended that they stop buying links and they focus specifically on Haro and doing some major guest posting, and they ended up living through Medic and increasing as well. So I think they're concentrating on getting the quality is an important thing, especially in some sectors. So that's a big thing for next year as well. So again, Sam, thank you so much. It's been despite the little technical difficulty that we had halfway through, it's been a great presentation. Just to let everyone know, we will be sending out again the video, Sam's slide deck, and then also a link to the Ahrefs trial and to the local guide and some other guides that you have talked about as well. One final question: what's the correct pronunciation? Is it Ahrefs or Ahrefs?
Whatever you want to call it. It's everyone calls it different depending on which part of the world you're from, and it doesn't even matter. Like some people will watch one of our videos or watch a webinar and they'll hear us say Ahrefs, and so we say Ahrefs, but some people say Ahrefs. There's a lot of Ahrefs. There's a lot of different ways that people say it. So call it whatever you want. It's the same tool.
All right, great. Well, thanks again for your time. Just to let everyone know, our next SEJ think tank will be December 19th, so next week. We're going to be doing that on voice optimization strategies with Colin Holmes from ChatMeter. So feel free to go to the site, sign up. You'll see ads for it and things like that. And then we'll see you in a week. Sam, it's been a pleasure. Anything you'd like to say before signing off?
That's it. Just give Ahrefs a shot. It's worth it, in my opinion.
Awesome. And again, we'll be sending everybody out that link. Thanks again. And just to let you know, there's a quick survey after we're done with the webinar. We'd ask you to fill out to make our webinars even better. So thanks again for attending, everyone. Thanks again, Sam, and talk to you soon.